the results of the primaries, in my opinion, was clear. Like people, like more radical left candidates versus like the very
antithesis.
corporate, yeah,
Correct.
money, big business candidates.
And what I wonder is, what is that going to do to the voting blocks, right? Because if you have such a hard left and such a hard Seattle right, then where do people in the middle, where do they fall, and who do they go to?
Very good question.
I am smart.
I don't know. I'm not a moderate.
Do you think we're going to
Hashtag
have an
cannot
answer
relate.
to that in this election, or do you think those people are going to sit out?
No, they're gonna vote.
Yeah, I think they'll vote.
They're gonna vote.
I think they'll vote.
If there's anything a pussy hat wearing woman has told me, vote.
Welcome to the activist class, my fellow neoliberals. This is Day,
Not Myra.
People call me Spec.
I'm Aretha.
and today we're gonna talk about some Seattle City Council elections. Right?
Exciting.
Okay, I think because we're launching this podcast during probably the most pivotal point of at least this year's local Seattle City Council elections, it makes sense to talk, at least for the first couple of episodes, about the elections.
Yeah.
D1.
District 1, West Seattle.
De uno.
Where Aretha lives. Oh, I probably should not say that.
It's
It's a
okay. It's a
big
big
district.
district, dude.
I don't
You can live
live-
anywhere.
Aretha lives right off West Seattle Bridge. 2 rights, 1 left. Past
Harbor
the Pagliacci.
5, baby.
Okay, I just feel like with these districts, these races, there's like an obvious choice, but like even with the obvious choices, I'm not like happy with all the obvious choices. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
That
Yeah. Totally.
sounds...
Like, you know, surprise, surprise, we're probably all voting for Lisa Herbold.
You mean me?
I mean,
Well,
we
you-
can't vote for
Yeah,
her.
well,
But we all
supporting.
Are you
support, yeah.
committing fraud?
Like, I can support her. I can, like, barely endorse her.
Same.
Like,
I don't even think I can endorse her.
I mean, like, I'm voting for Lisa Herbold. I gave her my democracy vouchers.
do you think Tavel stands a chance?
I don't think so. I think that Councilmember Herbold really does, like, rep her district. Like, she goes hard for her district.
Were you
specifically.
surprised to see Tavel make it through? Was he the person you thought was going to be?
No, because he's run before.
Mm-hmm.
So he has name notoriety. And, you know, just like in any district there is.
Who
that,
came in
like-
third?
I don't remember.
I think it was Brendan Colding,
Oh,
right?
yeah. There were signs for that
Is that
person
right?
by my house, too.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I've been at too many town halls where Lisa's talking about how she's so for the homeless sweeps and like trying to calm down NIMBYs to like, and I get it. And Aretha, you know best about how many phone calls council members and their staff get daily and how many of them are nasty. But I don't know. Like Lisa is, I know all politicians say one thing and do another thing, but I think it's because I've trusted her too many times. And I'm
Same.
kind of like at the point where I'm like,
She's a wild card to me, but a wild card that always sways against me at the end. So,
But better than the alternative
correct.
Yeah.
by many degrees.
And
right?
I will say, like, from my personal experience, like, when I was door knocking in Northwest Seattle, that was some of the most racist experiences I've ever had. Like, door knocking the entire city. Like, those were the people who were just overtly like, why are you here? You don't belong here. Like, telling me to get back in my car. So that district is really hard to rep because you have places like that, but then you also have South Park. So that contrast is very, very stark.
Yeah.
no, Lisa needs to win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lisa, I feel like, is a candidate that will serve the people better if the council has more progressive people on it.
Absolutely.
I agree.
And so I agree. I think she's a wild card, but that wild card will play more to our favor when she doesn't feel like she's going to lose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is what it is. It
Like
is
a
what it
Deborah.
is. I mean, we'll get to her district, but like I think Lisa's more. Gosh, I mean, as much shit as I'm talking, like, she's still more progressive than Deborah Warren is. At least Lisa gets invited to go speak about the head tax on the East Coast
Yeah.
with Mosqueda.
So is that D1?
That's D1.
Are we good on
So,
D1?
Lisa, Tammy Morales versus the People's Cop, Mark Solomon. Not his campaign slogan, the People's Cop.
Also, shout out to Tammy Morales' campaign manager. They were the field director on another campaign that I worked on. And also student government with
Who's
me.
that?
Gang gang. Ty.
Ty's good at drafting emails. Because those emails, those mass emails that are written by their campaign staff or whatever, some of them are like terrible. And
That shit is hard to write, okay?
I agree, but I
You're
get
stressed.
You know whose one is really weird? Pramila's. Her subject. I saw David Croman email or tweet about this the other day. Like he was scared that he did something wrong because the emails are like, "Listen now," like the subject, or another one is like, "Help," and that's it. Like no context, and I'm just like, "What the fuck?" Pramila needs help. Like open this, and you know what? I just realized I
That's
think
some
they're doing their
Kenyan
job.
Prince shit.
Yeah.
It's doing their job because
Effective as fuck.
you're opening it, then you see the fucking like watermark, and you're like, "Fuck!" Like it's a
Got
campaign
ya.
email. Got him. Pramila's just like, "Got him, fuckers." Anyway, shout out to Tammy's staff. Good at writing emails.
Shout out to campaign staff in general. They work their asses off.
Yeah,
So it seems like the pack is pulling out of that race. It seems like Tammy got it locked up. Pending a scandal.
Mm-hmm.
Congrats to her, man.
I mean, I don't know. Tammy's done some sus things. Tammy
Uh-oh.
kept her distance away from a lot of socialist orgs, including DSA, which,
she's a paper member of, right?
yes, she's right, but she's made it very clear she's a member to explore, right?
Oh, sure.
Dipping her toe in the socialist cesspool.
I mean, that's how we all start.
Yeah,
Get the bug.
that's
Dip
how
your
we all
toes.
start, but
But she's like actively answering questions about her socialist alignment, and she's like answering pretty definitively as a no, right? Recently.
yeah. I mean, her campaign has done a lot of solidarity-esque things with Sean Scott's and Kshama Sawant's
For sure.
campaign.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
They've united around the Green New Deal. Okay, can I ask an unfair question?
Sure.
Okay, if Tammy was the most left person on the council and Sean and Kshama didn't get through, are we okay?
No, we're fucked.
Why? You literally just said that, I don't know.
I mean, she'd be outvoted, is what I mean.
I mean, yeah, we would.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because it
That's
would
what I
be-
mean. Yeah.
Okay, so her ideology, her politics is progressive enough to be because for the past 8 years, that line was drawn by Kshama Sawant.
Yes. Yes.
Like, second to none. I mean, say what you want about Kshama. She was always towing that line.
Yeah, and she set the terms.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And some may even believe, many believe actually, that it was harmful to the progressive movement. Not us.
Yes.
I mean, maybe us.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think it's either or. I think it's nuanced, right? Like, whenever it came to organizing, we knew that we could run things through Shama's office. Like, if that needed to happen, that could
She'll
happen.
print flyers for us.
She'll print flyers. She'll say the thing. She'll take the vote. But at the same time, there have definitely, and I think there's multiple coalitions that can speak to this, where SA has not been helpful, and SA has either quelled
Say her org.
Socialist Alternative has not been helpful and has
or taken credit.
disorganized things that have been moving.
Or taken credit.
Yeah. that
Sorry,
also.
SA.
No, it's
I also
that's
think
fact.
that they've like, for me, there was no more like defining moment the way I saw them than the airport protest, where she like rallied hundreds, if not thousands, of people to get there, and then when the cops showed up with tear gas, She was like, peace.
I remember that.
But
no,
all
she
of us-
didn't only say peace. She went on the mic and was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I think it's time to go home."
Right.
I remember
like
that.
placating to the cops,
which
Oh.
is fine, but like it seemed like her and her group were actively asking people to put their bodies on the line. And like in that moment I was in a compromised position where like I couldn't, leaving was not an option for me in that moment.
Yeah.
But it certainly was for her. So like that's my issue with her. I will vote for her if I lived in her district. I would vote for her every time. But there are issues.
But Spec needs an apology.
Yeah. Goddamn right.
Okay, so I mean, you know,
Let's talk D3.
the
It's Ron Sharma.
well, the Tammy. Okay, so Tammy's winning no matter what. We believe in her politics. We're endorsing her like actually versus like a Lisa Herbold.
Yes.
Where
Yes.
we're supporting.
Mhm.
I would say supporting, endorsing, different levels maybe.
Mhm.
Nuance.
But generally speaking, her politics aren't as progressive as Kshama's.
Agreed.
But that
they're-
doesn't mean she's not as, if not more important than Kshama.
But what I'll also say is like for
Mhm.
candidates or council members like Tammy, hopefully, what matters is like when community also organizes, right? Like you can't have a radical council member in isolation. You need to also have like on the ground organizing in order to make space for that council member to have validity and to be able to do what they have to do, right? Because then we open up the space for them to do and pass legislation for whatever it is. And so I think that if we're going to talk about putting people, whoever it is, Nikita, Tammy, whoever in office, then we also need to be talking about the health of whatever community that it's supposed to be holding them down or whatever movements they come from.
That's interesting because one of Kshama's biggest critiques, at least from the left, the grassroots left, is that she's not accountable to her district, the most vulnerable in her community. And to her credit, I think at least
Her district has also changed.
her
Correct.
district has changed. One of the, I don't know about like statistically the most rapid, but definitely the most polarizing, gentrifying district in Seattle.
I grew up in the CD.
Right, Central District native.
What's up?
Sorry, my boyfriend's one of them.
Like
He's a good
from
one.
from Central
Just
District
got-
or a
just got
gentrifier?
real
Oh
awkward.
my God, 100%.
Well then.
Oh, fuck that dude then.
Let me
one
tell you
of
about
them
my
too,
childhood,
though.
Myra.
But yeah, no, I think that's one of Kshama's biggest critique, and I think oftentimes a fair one. I will say recently I've seen her show up for different community stuff, especially when it comes to displacement. She was showing up.
But also, who's saying that? Is it Montlake saying that, or is it people in the CD saying that, or?
I mean, I think
it's
that's
both.
that's
both.
I think that's the scary thing. It's been both.
Okay,
it's been
got
both.
it.
Yeah.
Like Kshama Sawant runs her office at like she's running like a national, national
Yeah.
elected seat.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
But does she have to do like, or at least maybe not now, but did she have to do that in order to like be this progressive and radical and like explicit, and like actually get elected? Wasn't that necessary?
Well, the interesting thing is like that Kshama. If you were to tell me that Shama's ultimate career goal in her life is to be city council, I would say that's complete bullshit.
100%.
But if you were to tell me Tammy is like wants to do this for a couple terms, this is like what she wants to do for until retirement, I'd be like, yeah, maybe.
Mhm.
You know, I could see that. And I don't know if that necessarily how much that matters, but I think like no one's gonna be surprised if Kshama wins this seat, and in a year or two before her term is up, she's eyeing a congressional seat and decides to run for that. Anyway, Kshama and Egan, another obvious choice. This one I think
It's tough.
this one's the scariest. I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's where I live. It's 70 or to 80% renter. with the most gentrification, as we've discussed. So
Right.
the most change, the most injustice.
And that's what I think is the most scary is that, you know, like, if Kshama were running when I was growing up, I don't think I would be as scared. But I think of who has moved to District 3, which is, you know, Central District, CID, all Montlake, not Montlake, sorry,
Beacon Hill.
Madrona, all of those areas. You know, they're the people that call and say, you know, there's this homeless person outside of my house. Like, I'm afraid. Like, where are the cops? Why are the cops' response so slow? You know, like, those fears and the Seattle is dying narrative, I think, is very rampant across the city. But I think it really resonates with those folks, and those are people who will not vote for Kshama.
So that when you say you're scared now versus before, you're scared, like you're literally scared she's gonna lose.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if she lost. I would be devastated, but I would not be surprised if she lost.
Let the record be known that I will also be devastated.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it
would be a pivotal moment, I feel.
This is
Absolutely.
Right.
like let me just put this down. Like, this is the most represented I've ever been in my life. Is having Kshama as my voice. Even though, you know, she takes some positions I don't like, I'm still like, at the end of the day, we're still working towards the same result.
I think arguably the most consistent council member.
100%.
Maybe like you know where she's voting
Yeah.
more than anyone else, and that's something that like I think we need to give credit for.
Absolutely.
But when we think about like persuadables in her district, and we think about those liberal / neoliberal voters who like this is gonna show like where our political landscape is in Seattle. Those persuadables no longer are persuadables when Kshama Sawant is on the left. You're gonna have an extremely difficult time convincing a neoliberal Democrat to vote for Kshama Sawant.
And especially because those folks that are moving in there are moving to Seattle for the first time. Like, they don't have any
Exactly.
appreciation for
what it's taken, what's happened.
Yeah, and like what a staunch advocate she's been, and like how reliably she's voted left. Like, none of that stuff.
Although I will say there might be a small chance, because I remember when I moved to Seattle and Kshama was becoming the first open socialist city council or whatever, right? I was definitely coming from Texas, where, you know, like, it's one of the most oppressive states, like, for Latinx women out there, right? Like, I definitely felt a calling, and especially in a Trumpian era, maybe that will be different. But then again, in a Trumpian era, Egan doesn't look too bad.
Okay, so then can I then ask, though, like, if we're talking about how does people like AOC and like the squad and their existence and like what they've been able to accomplish on the national level, like, what does that do for Kshama locally?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Because everyone is in love with the squad, right? Like, people are really, I think at least in like my circles, people are really like, yes, that is what I want. Like, we've worked so hard. Like, this is representative democracy, blah, blah, blah. You know, and arguably AOC is the Kshama of Congress right now. And she's not alone. Like, there's Ilhan, Ayana, like all these other women of color, specifically Black women, holding it down. So I wonder, when people see that nationally, will they correlate that down to what we have here? Or will they be drawn to more?
That's what I'm curious about too.
Yeah.
So D3 Kshama easily, desperately, but we're afraid.
Yes.
All right, we covered District 1, 2, and 3. Our choices are Lisa Herbold,
Yay, go for it.
Tammy Morales,
Do it.
Kshama Sawant.
Do it, girl.
Yep.
All right, we covered District 1, 2, and 3. We know who we're going to vote for. Next time we're going to cover 4, 5, and 6.
And 7.
And 7.
Bonus.
Always forget 7.
Bonus episode.
We're about a month away. If you
Ballots.
haven't registered to vote, get your ass on
Oh my
it.
God.
Especially if you're local.
Find your democracy vouchers.
Ballots.
Use those motherfuckers.
And you can use them online. You can
Yes.
log on to
Yeah,
the
if you
internet,
fucking lost them.
Yep.
and you can just send them off. You don't even have to touch paper.
Just do your fucking job.
Yeah, word.
Come on.
Voter suppression is real. It's happening everywhere. And if you're not being suppressed by voter suppression, do your fucking job.
Word.
I don't know why. I
We
was
have
gonna
to
make a joke
mail
about
our shit
congestion.
in. All other states, you have to go to a fucking booth to do it.
Yeah.
Don't be an ingrate.
It can't be easier than this. I
And
mean,
it's
still-
free. It's free postage.
It's free postage. Drop it off a ballot box. If you are an able-bodied person, help out somebody with less resources. Get the fucking ballots in.
Word.
Dude, just call me and I'll mail it for you.
Especially if
Literally.
you're in D3.
Yeah.
All right. This is activist class. Until next time. See ya.